welcome to your Daily 5 for Wednesday, November 20th, 2024. Some of you may already know this, but the landmark video game Half-Life 2 recently celebrated its 20th anniversary, and as part of that celebration, a new documentary was released that goes over the making of the game. It runs just a little under, I think, 2.5 hours, and has multiple interviews with almost everyone who was involved with the game, nearly everybody as far as I could tell, and goes over the inception of the game, the follow-up to it being Half-Life, to the hit Half-Life, how they made it, all the problems they had, numerous things. Great documentary. Cannot recommend it highly enough if you are interested in how Half-Life 2 was made. And obviously, if you don't care about Half-Life 2 or Half-Life or video games, then you might as well just stop listening to this 5 now, because that's all I'm going to be talking about. But within that documentary, there were a couple of different points that got a lot of discussion online because they concerned the never-made Episode 3 for Half-Life 2. Now, if you've never played it or don't remember, Half-Life 2 Episode 2 ended on a massive cliffhanger that was never resolved. There have been released notes from one of the writers that seem to indicate where the ending might have been going, but as far as an official release, we have never seen the Half-Life 2 Episode 2 storyline resolved, which has made a lot of people not all that happy because, including myself, it's a massive cliffhanger. And one of the explanations given, or there's a couple, but Gabe Newell, the president, CEO, I don't know what his title is at Valve, the head of Valve, the most recognizable person at Valve for most people, has said that it was a personal failure of his because he couldn't figure out how to move the story forward. And then some of the other team members say, well, the moment kind of went by us and we decided, well, it was too late to go back and revisit it. None of which, to me, makes any sense. I just don't believe any of this. This does not feel like an authentic answer because at this point, you could just make the third episode in the original Half-Life 2 engine and everybody would be happy because at least the story would be resolved. In fact, many people have said that exact thing in multiple forums, comments, responses to this documentary, all over the place, that they just want to see the story resolved. And the idea that they couldn't figure out any way to do it with some of the writers that they had, especially because there was a leaked kind of what Episode 3 would have been story that came out from one of the writers, none of this feels like it's true. So it is likely that the kind of ever-present Half-Life 3 that everybody knows is being made, and yet we've heard nothing about, is probably going to wrap this story up. In fact, if anything, the nonsensical explanations in this documentary only seem to cement that there is going to be another Half-Life entry. And when it will come, nobody knows. I think that in many ways, this documentary may be telegraphing why it's been so long since why the delay for this is taking so long. The development cycle for Half-Life 2 was, I think, 6 years, which was far past what anybody on the team thought it would be. Now you might say, well, 6 years is one thing, 20 is another. Well, not really, not if you're the company that's in charge, and I would think that Half-Life 2 would be the final entry in the series. So it does make some sense that they're in no rush to release it, that they are working on things. They want this to be kind of the legacy release of the entire company. Under that, if you look at it from that sense, under that kind of framework, it does have a logic that they would not rush to release something, even if a lot of people just at this point are saying, well, there's never going to be a Half-Life 3. Well, I'm pretty sure there's going to be something. They did release Half-Life Alyx, which I don't think anybody saw coming. Yes, it was a VR-only release, at least at first. I think there is some way to play it on a regular PC now. I've never played it, so I don't know. But that was something that most people probably weren't assuming was going to happen. And you have to think that all of these things are the building blocks of what will eventually be Half-Life 3. So I don't think that the company couldn't figure out how to finish the story. I don't think that they're not going to do Half-Life 3. I think that they're just not concerned with releasing anything until they're satisfied that it is going to be what I really would have to believe is the crowning achievement of Valve. This will be their magnum opus, the great final release as far as a game. Not to say they wouldn't make any other games, but something like Half-Life 3 has to be, I think, as close to perfect as the company feels it's going to be. And so again, this documentary only makes me believe that more because these answers as far as why there was never a resolution to the story, yeah, I'm sorry, they just don't track for me. So maybe it's true. I can't guarantee you. I have no inside sources. But what this all feels like is essentially a way to say, without saying, just wait, there is a finale coming. We just haven't finished it yet. So if you've watched the documentary, I would be curious what your opinion is because that's what my feeling is after watching it. Later.